Welcome to Lead Today with me, Kalina. Let's talk leadership. This episode would not be possible without Anchor. It's free and the easiest way to make a podcast. They're creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 3 of the career development series on logical levels. So today, we're going to get into values and beliefs. What is the difference between the two? Why do we care about either of them when it comes to building our career? And if you're liking this series, I would love it if you would like, subscribe, review the show. Any button that you can click to essentially show your support means the world to me. And if you're feeling extra generous and want to donate a coffee or more, you can also subscribe to our Inner Circle membership where you get access to more content, behind the scenes footage. It's pretty cool. There's a link in the show notes for that. So, values and beliefs. I think this is the foundation, the heart, let's say the core, even though it's sort of in the middle of logical levels. I'd say it's the heart of logical levels in the sense that our values really drive us, right? I mean, all of us, okay, your identity, your purpose, like you could all say you gain motivation from any one of these levels. But for me, it's like when I think of values, I think of why is something important to you? The importance. And when something's important to you, like I know for me, if something's important, I will move mountains. I will call that office. I will get a hold of that person, no matter who it is, what position. If I don't know them, out of town, whatever. Like if something's important to me, if something's important to someone I love, if I need to get something done, like that's happening, right? Like you become a force to be reckoned with. And I think that we really connect to that kind of force to be reckoned with energy when something resonates with our values, when it's important to us. So when it comes to values, you're identifying and answering the question, why is this important? And if you ask yourself, for example, you have a work deadline. It's like, okay, why is this important to me? Okay, well, I want to impress my boss. I also want to do a good quality of work. We're going to get this new client, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you start explaining, and this is a core question in any coaching session. So if you hire a coach and they don't ask you that question every session over session, you better be asking them why they're not asking it. Because if something's not important to you, like if you come to a coaching session, you talk about something and the coach says, why is this important? And you say, well, it's not, but I just want to get it off my chest. Or it's not that important, but I figured we should talk about it. Like, absolutely not. I mean, coaches are charging, 200, 500, $1,000 an hour. It's like, I don't think it cuts it when something's not important, right? And we can tell also by where we put our dollars. So why is it important to you? And if it's not, don't be talking to it. Don't be talking about it to your coach or your lawyer or accountant, because the bill will be astronomical. So it's actually a good rule of thumb if you think of it. Like, would you pay $500 to talk about this with someone? It's like, if you wouldn't spend the money, then it's not really that important to you. And then, the question is, what's it worth, right? Is it worth to spend 10 minutes on this, 20 minutes? Like, what's it worth to you? What's your time worth to you in the sense of, time, but also energy? Like, is it worth it to dedicate time to just complain about something? But it's kind of a rabbit hole of discussion. My main point with values is, okay, why is it important? And it's a sense of right and wrong. So again, back to this kind of moral idea, right? It's kind of like if you value something, if you value family, if you value wealth, if you value happiness or your success in your career, if you value generosity, those are things that, you want to look at and say, okay, what's my sense of right or wrong in this arena, right? Like, you can value your family, but what does that mean in terms of how you show up. And then you move to the identity level, right? And then what's your purpose or your vision? So what are you trying to build in terms of your family? So, but your family is not important, then we don't need to go to identity or purpose, right? So I would start out by listing out some answers to your job, for example. Why is it important to me? Is it just a paycheck? Are you getting valuable connections? Is it a stepping stone to your next gig? Why is this job that you're doing right now important to you? Or if you're making a career decision, if you're making a business decision, answering why is it important to you is a foundation of coaching. It's going to connect you back to your heart. It's going to remind you why you're even bothering to think about whatever's on your mind in the first place. So, core proponent of this level, and definitely a question worthy of an answer. What about beliefs? A bit different, right? To me, my understanding is that beliefs they're ideas that you hold to be true. Ideas that you hold to be true in your head. So it's something, your sense of conviction comes from, I believe, blah, 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 blah. This is, and that is also tied to your sense of right and wrong, right? Because if you value family, and then your belief is, a family needs to have dinner together every night to be functional, to be connected. Like we have to have dinner together every night. That's a belief. And so then you say, okay, family's important. We have to have dinner every night. There's a very clear sense of right or wrong. I'm not connected to my family because I'm not eating with them every night. And it's like, there's your even more encapsulated moral code, because it's not just family. Now we're talking family and your beliefs about family. And so these two things go hand in hand together in this level. And beliefs are cultural. They can be faith-based. They can be things that you learn in school. So educational, right? Things that you've kind of been indoctrinated with over the course of your studies. They're definitely from experiences, mentors or teachers or people around you as well. So we get beliefs from a lot of different arenas, of course, and we pick them up. And so I think one thing to sort of look at that I think is really useful when it comes to beliefs is, am I like, I want to say this respectfully. Like, am I regurgitating what I've just been told, or do I really believe this, right? Like, am I just kind of like thoughtful beliefs, right? And attaching them to your values. So for example, right, go back to the family thing. It's like, if your family tradition has always been Sunday lunch and you say, okay, family is important to me. And if family is important to me, then I believe that we need to have that Sunday lunch every Sunday to show, because I believe that family is important and that's what close families do. You can question your beliefs, and you can question your beliefs without questioning your values, right? So that's something that we routinely do when I work with my clients. It's like, for example, I value career success, right? They'll come, I want to be wealthy, then I value being respected and having a good reputation in my field. And so somebody will come to me with that and say, like, if I want to be respected, then I need to work all the time. I need to be accessible all the time, or else, my coworkers and my clients won't respect me because they can't reach me all the time. And I certainly have examples of executives, managers, people that are just always reachable, right? And we do, to some degree, really respect those people because it's like, hey, I know I can count on them. But if this person is also coming to me saying, I'm burnt out, I don't have any energy, having issues with stress, maybe I just had a heart attack, or I'm having adrenal fatigue, well, then maybe that free-for-all, always available for everyone thing is not working out for the individual that's supplying it, right? If it's like you're constantly getting sick, or you're seeing the long-term effects or even short-term effects, right? Burnout can creep up on you 3 to 6 months, depending on where you're at and how you are. So it's really important when, you say career success or you say wealth is important to you, to really mull around about the ideas that you believe to be true about what those values mean, what they are, what does that mean, right? So, and is it true? So, okay, why is it important to you? What's important to you and why? Right? So, okay, family, my career, my health, like these are broad things, right? But then we can go deeper and say, okay, what do I believe about health, about being wealthy, about family? And you can start kind of really percolating on a bunch of different ideas that you'll see that, like for me, especially when I first started looking at this, like being a good wife, being a good friend, being even a parent down the road, being, a business person. I looked to the people around me growing up, as we all do, right? We look to the people around us to say, okay, what does this mean to be a good entrepreneur, to be a good dad, to be a good friend, to be a good teacher? Like we look at the people around us and that's what we decide is good usually. And then we become adults, right? And we can kind of step aside from it and say, yeah, okay, I love my parents, but maybe some of these things I don't agree with. I don't agree with some of their beliefs. Oftentimes, though, we will have their core values, right? Unless we really do some work to kind of say, okay, well, my parents valued this, but maybe this isn't even important to me. So not only do I not believe what they believe, but I don't really value it. It's not really important to me to be wealthy in the way that they are. Or, no, it's important for me to build wealth, but I want to build it differently. I believe different things about building wealth. Wealth means something different to me. So this distinction between the noise of what you believe, what you value, and what you've sort of been socialized to value is a really big distinction I find in this section with clients and we're talking, I've coached 5,000 hours with clients in 21 countries around the world. This is so transcendent. I mean, culture can definitely impact values, don't get me wrong, but this transcends like any language, international border, customs. This transcends everything because there's always going to be what you have in your mind and in your heart and what you've been brought to believe. And there are going to be clashes, whether or not they're large. It might just be on the belief level, but look into this for yourself. I know I did some examples that were not career-based. If you want to think career, it can be a similar thing, right? Like, okay, your parents climbed the career ladder, or maybe your father's a doctor, so you should be a doctor or whatever they are. Oh, my mom's a stay-at-home mom. Should I stay at home? Should I be in a career? I've been out of the workforce for a while, so my belief is that, I'm too old to get back in the game. Like these are the nagging thoughts that really can hold us back or shift us into taking different actions, which we'll talk about in a few episodes here. But our beliefs really can guide what our actions are. And our values are totally kind of the foundation from which the beliefs sort of, actually, let me be careful about how I say that, because I think they work together, right? You can value something broadly, but the beliefs sort of dictate what that means in a deeper way, right? Because it's like if you believe whatever, a nuclear family, a normal family, yeah, that's not important, right? That's not important anymore. Society's changed. It's not important. But you can still think family is important or like connection is important. So they work hand in hand, I think, because your beliefs will come out of your values. You'll have different beliefs about your values. So yeah, your beliefs will inform what your values mean to you. So I would say if you can kind of roll around those two concepts in your head and just know the difference, right? Because you can believe something and maybe not value it so much, or you can change your values and you can change both of them. But your values are normally pretty enduring. They're broad concepts and they can be a huge help in guiding you as well through that kind of moral code of like, family's important to me, honesty is important to me, compassion's important to me, adventure's important to me. Okay, how do those things line up into who I'm being? And how do my values and who I've been over the past, let's say, couple weeks, how does that line up into my purpose, my vision? Am I kind of going toward what I want? Are these things conflicting? Is my vision that I'm going to be a top CEO, but my values are, free time, family, travel, adventure, and wealth building? It's like, well, okay, but do I want to be? So what do I believe about being in my family? What do I believe about wealth building? Do I have to be the CEO that's there 80 hours a week? Is it possible otherwise? So you really need to start kind of unraveling. And this is what happens with logical levels. If we were to do this in a coaching session together or with anyone, right, is you would kind of go down, or you can join the logical levels wherever you're at. So if a client comes in the conversation, let's say at this level, they join me in, I have this project and it's really important to me and I've been working on it for months and, I'm trying to be the best employee that I can. And they come in at that sort of values level of what's important to them. Well, then we want to work our way up and down through the logical levels to get a full understanding of the situation and to make sure that that person's in alignment with what they're doing. Because maybe they're caught up in the situation, but when it comes to their bigger purpose, they don't really care about that project or that job or whatever, right? But we can get so caught up in our day to day. So it's really a great exercise to kind of either get that bird's eye view as we go from the middle up, or if we're going and we're feeling really kind of in dream mode, but we don't know how to get things into action, we can go up all the way down and get super clear about what it is that we want to do. So I hope you found this valuable. If you want to look into your values and beliefs, start answering what and why is important to you and what do I believe to be true about this topic, about this value? What do I believe to be true? Two really good questions to start answering for yourself. See you again in the next one.